Well, hello everybody and welcome to Assembly. It was very good to see you all in your separate year groups earlier this week, and I hope that you all, and especially the new pupils, are settling into term effectively. I hope also this will be my last ever video assembly. As you'll know, we have had some positive tests both on LFTs in school and PCRs outside of school, and I hope that those who have been tested positive are either experiencing no symptoms, or if they are, that they are mild, and I do wish you very, very well indeed. It's obviously bound to cause some disruption having pupils in and out of school like this, but I think far better to be doing it this way than to risk having people in school and a much wider spread as we go through. But also a very, very good reminder to us all of the importance of adhering to all the hygiene and safety measures both in and outside of school. Thank you to everybody who was involved in Old Peterite Day last Saturday. It requires a tremendous amount of organisation, and it was a very, very successful day with a fantastic atmosphere. We started with a chapel service, which was truly excellent, wonderful singing from the choir, and also fantastic for the congregation to be singing in chapel for the first time since February 2019. Meanwhile, the sports fixtures were competitive and highly enjoyable. The school won squash and hockey, with the OPs winning rowing and rugby, meaning that the netball match was going to be the decider. And with a score of 26-all, it seemed entirely fitting that the overall result was a draw between the OPs and the school, as we had our first full gathering of such a nature for 2 years. And sticking with chapel and music, there will be a chapel choir rehearsal today at 1:05 in the chapel, and that's from Mr. Miles Kington, who also says thank you for your singing on OP Day. Any pupils who'd like to audition for chapel choir should come to the music school at the same time. Monday next week sees the return of school choir, and that will return to its previous time of 1:05 to 1:45 p.m. and take place as a split activity in chapel and the Mem Hall. Pupils in the middle school are reminded that they should join the lunch queue as soon after the end of period 5 as possible, so that we can get the singers through early lunch promptly. From Mrs. Hall, Eco Club. The Eco Club will continue to meet this year and to share ideas, campaign and complete environmental projects at school and further afield. You can either join every week as one of your co-curricular activities or dip into projects that particularly interest you. So please do complete the Google form that was sent to your school email, or let Mrs. Hall know how much you would like to and when you are free to join. Beverley 10K. Just over 2 weeks to go before the Beverley 10K takes place on Sunday the 26th of September. Hopefully preparations are going well for all of you taking part, and can anybody who's entered the race online, including people whose entries will have rolled over from last year, please contact Mr. Parr so that you can be included in arrangements about travel for the big day. Get in touch by Teams, by email or in person. And the LGBTQ+ group is back for the new term. So students and staff from across Peters 13 to 18 are invited to meet on Mondays in Q4 at 1:20. Please contact Miss Edgar for more information or to join the Teams page. A message from Miss Staniforth about Makerspace. Makerspace, as many of you will know, is a co-curricular club for those with shared interests in design and technology. It's an opportunity to pick up a new skill, to work with exciting materials and components, and meet with like-minded, creative and inquisitive people. It takes place after school on Tuesdays and Thursdays in the DT department. And it runs as one-off masterclasses such as resin casting and wearable electronics, and also longer projects in collaboration with other departments and entering competitions as well. So please contact Mrs. Staniforth via Teams to register your interest. Les Miserables. Ms. Burns would like to invite all pupils interested in the artistic and technical aspects of the production design to be involved with our main school production this year. It's an incredibly exciting opportunity, and we will be looking for creative individuals to join the core team of stage management and designers to create the Parisian world of Les Mis. This will be of particular interest to those pupils wanting to study technical theatre at GCSE and those already with a flair for design and a talent for ingenuity. So please go and see Miss Burns or Mr. Williams for a chat about that. And finally, very occasionally an event happens which has such a significant impact on the world that years later people will still say they remember exactly where they were when they heard the news. And tomorrow, as I'm sure you're aware, is the 20th anniversary of 9/11, the terrorist attack on the United States, where 2 planes were flown into the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center buildings in New York. Another plane was flown into the Pentagon building, and a further plane did not reach its intended target as the passengers on board overcame the hijackers and the plane crash landed in a field. 2,977 people died as a consequence of the attacks, with over 25,000 others injured. Well, I can remember exactly where I was when I heard the news. I was working at a school in Sussex and just finished a hockey coaching session when the pupils and staff arriving for the next session on the AstroTurf told us that there had been a terrible accident in New York and that a plane had hit a skyscraper. I was a housemaster at the time and I ran back to the boarding house where the boys were gathered around live TV footage from the scene. When I first came in, the commentators were discussing what might have gone wrong with the pilot's navigation system or something on board the plane to lead to such an accident. And then a second plane became visible and we watched as it settled on a course for the second tower and flew straight into the building. There was a sense of complete disbelief. When I was growing up, terrorist attacks by the IRA were an ugly and an evil aspect of life, especially for those in a military family, but we had never seen anything like this before, with events unfolding as though it was a fictitious Hollywood movie. One of the British people who died in the Twin Towers was called Stephen Lawn, and he was 29 and had been in New York for 3 years working as a money trader. He was in my year group in my house at school, and he died on the 91st floor of the South Tower, the second tower to be hit 17 minutes later than the first. And I have never wanted to consider the details or what he went through, but I do think of him and his family on the anniversary of 9/11 and at other times during the year. Before long, suspicions settled on a terrorist group called Al-Qaeda and its leader Osama bin Laden, barely known to anyone outside the intelligence community at the time, but soon to be the focus of a new war on terror, which saw troops and drone attacks deployed in Iraq and Afghanistan, as well as countries such as the Philippines, northern Iraq, Yemen, Syria, and Libya. Global politics shifted on its axis, and along with other major geopolitical issues, the war on terror has been a dominant feature of the last 20 years, with the US decision to withdraw their troops from Afghanistan before tomorrow's anniversary, leading to the heart-rending scenes which we have all witnessed in recent weeks. Amongst many other things, 9/11 and the aftermath reminds us that we live in a highly interconnected world with competing ideologies and politics. And yet, we also remain one global humanity united by other challenges such as the climate emergency and the spread of COVID, which remind us that the natural world makes no distinction between borders and nationalities. John Donne wrote about this in a famous poem, including the lines, "No man is an island entire of itself. Any man's death diminishes me because I am involved in mankind, and therefore never send to know for whom the bell tolls. It tolls for thee." Well, being back at school reminds us that we are one community and not a set of disparate, distinct individuals. We depend on each other in all areas, including keeping safe and reducing the spread of COVID. So, while tomorrow's anniversary will be a cause for sadness, let us also focus on the benefits we have from being one community and celebrate those things which bring us together. I hope you have a very good end to the week, and I hope that next Friday we will be finally together back in the Mem Hall. But until then, crack on.